What is up, my brothers and sisters? Back with another video. And in this one, we're going to talk about intuition. And it basically ties into your relationship and your connection with God, right? Your intuition, a lot of it has to do with, what God is speaking to you. And, we have this, innate instincts within us. We have this, this feeling in our gut, this just kind of sense, it's not necessarily logical. It's not necessarily super intellectual. It's oftentimes just this, oh, I got this feeling, or I just kind of know, I get this sense, or I know, about this, or sometimes kind of a random idea kind of pops into your head. And pretty much, that's just God kind of, speaking to you. And a lot of the times we fight this, or we put this off, or we don't listen to it. And the better you can get at really focusing and honing in on this superpower, it's really a superpower, the better your life will become instantly. And it takes a really long time. And I'm still in the process of really, getting to that point of where, I have that really, really good, understanding and kind of knowing like when it's going on and what to do, what actions to take. Because, faith without works is dead, right? If God is telling you all these things, but you don't do anything, then there's no point, right? It's pointless. It's worthless, right? Well, it's not worthless, but it's just that like you're delaying, what could be happening, or, you're delaying blessings, you're delaying, certain things. And, everything happens for a reason. So one of the biggest ways that I've been able to, really start to increase my intuition and increase my connection with God, and, hone in on that kind of sixth sense, if you will, is by just having quiet time, right? Oftentimes when we pray, we're talking, we're constantly spewing out words and information, and, a lot of the times we're asking God for things. God, please do this. God, can I have that? God, I want this, and that's okay. But, we also need to, definitely thank God for what we already have, and thank God for the blessings that are in our life, and just be grateful and thankful, because gratitude is the highest, form of just, true self and true happiness and true joy. And so when you're in constant gratitude, like that's when you're like really thriving, right? But, when you pray, do your prayers, right? But then you have to give room and time for God to respond. If you just pray and then you immediately go to, watching TV or watching videos or doing a bunch of things, or, going out and driving, or, listening to music, or all these different things, like it's harder to really hear that quiet whisper that God often speaks to us. And, sometimes God will speak to us through other people, through music, through, a video that you might see, or a book, or, different things like that. But it's really, really important to just have some silence, have some peace and quiet. When you're driving to the store, or to your friend's house, or to work, or wherever, don't listen to music, don't listen to anything, don't listen to audiobooks, don't listen to anything. Just have peace and quiet in your car. And same thing when you're at home. It might be difficult because you might have kids, or a significant other, or roommates, or whatever, but, just really try to find a quiet place where you can just have some quiet time, you alone with your thoughts and with God, right? And just, make it a point every day, go for a walk, somewhere in a nice peaceful area, and don't listen to music, don't listen to anything, no headphones, no nothing. Just walk, and just don't think about anything. I know it's harder than it's easier said than done, but the more you practice, the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and the better you'll get at it. And the more your intuition will grow, the more your connection to God will grow, and the more you'll be able to hear God and listen to God, right? And then once you start really doing that, then it's up to you to be obedient, because that's the next step, is obedience. And that is one of the most important things that we have to do in our lives, is be obedient to God, right? If God tells you to do something but you don't do it, then you're in a bad spot. It's of course, it's not the end of the world, but the quicker you are obedient and the more you are obedient, the way better your life will become. So I encourage you guys to try some of these things. Continue to just do your best each and every single day. Praise be to God. Thanks be to God. I love you guys. Have a good day.